Okay, everybody, we're doing lesson 11.4 today, part 1. Part 2, part 3 available here. And 11.4 is about collecting data. We have a 36-point skill sheet for classwork today, 0 points for note-taking. And today's bell work today is make a box and whisker plot of this data here, students. So make that. And then down here we have a word problem, students. So what type of data display would you use for this meteorological problem? So the box and whisker, you know how to do that. You better know that you did the homework and stuff, so you know how to do that. Give your students 7 minutes, 8 minutes, teacher. Okay, welcome back for our solutions. Here's your data. Going from least to greatest, you found your medium. So you plot that here and you make a box and whisker beneath the number line here. And you show your quartiles here, and then your whiskers are out here. And so this is what you should come up with, students, for number 1. If you don't have it, copy this down so you get some credit for it, okay? Copy it down. And then line graph. The line graph just measures numerical data that changes over months. That'd be for number 2. Would be a line graph for number 2, or a dot plot, I think, would be the same thing as a. Into our lesson today, you've interpreted data displays. You identify populations and sampling methods. So one way to collect data about a group is to conduct a survey. The entire group that you want information about is called population. It is difficult to survey every member. Instead, you can survey a sample, which is part of the population. Okay, so sampling methods here. We have in random sample every member of population is equal chance. So just by being on the street or something and asking. Systemic would be you use some kind of criteria to select members of your population. This is page 3 on your classwork sheet, students. And then stratified sample is you'll be divided into distinct groups. Members are selected from each kind of like specialized group. And then a convenience sample, only your friends. You could ask that. That'd be convenience. And then a self-selected, members of population can select themselves by volunteering. 5 different methods there of sampling. And for each survey, describe population and sampling methods. So a school newspaper asks every 5th student entering a school building whether a new gymnasium should be built. That would be consists of all students at the school. Because the reporter uses the rule every 5th person, the sample would be a systemic. That would qualify it as a systemic. And then B, a manager at a TV station randomly telephones. That gives it away. 75 residents under 30 and 75 residents 30 years or over. So what would that be? It'd be because the manager divides the population into 2 groups. The sample is a stratified sample here. So he puts an arbitrary kind of like division between his sample. Okay, that's 2 of them. Now, a survey was conducted to find the percent of Americans who enjoy camping. The surveyor randomly selects 20 individuals from each of 50 states. Do you enjoy, greatly enjoy, or not enjoy camping in the woods, wherever, blah, 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 blah. How much should you trust the results of this survey? And identify the sampling method. 2 students, this is yours. Do you think the sample chosen was representative of the population? Explain. So our guided practice solution would be the population consists of all Americans. Because the surveyor divides population into groups by state and chooses members from each group, the sample is a stratified sample there for sure. Students, this is yours. When conducting a survey, you want the sample that is representative of the population. A sample that is not representative is a biased sample. The sampling method can affect how a representative sample is. The most reliable way to have a representative sample is to use random sampling. Random sampling is often used because it usually takes less time, money to perform. So A city council wants to help choose a new building project. Residents can choose one of the three ideas listed to the right. Build a new library, build a new city hall, build a new park. Because the city cannot survey every resident, it decides to survey a sample. Tell whether the survey method could result in a biased sample. Explain. A. Survey the city council members and their families. The method could result in a biased sample because the city council and their families have an interest in the city government. They may favor building a new city hall. Well, let's see another example here. Survey parents at the city's rec center. It could be biased because parents at the rec center have an interest in recreation. They may favor building a new park, so that would be biased too. Local shopping mall is less likely to result in bias because a wide range of people will be surveyed. The method is not a true random sample because people who are not at the mall have no chance of being selected. As a result, the sample may be biased. So they all have their own bias in this situation. And the manager of an apartment building wants to know if noise is a problem. The manager asks one person in each floor if the person thinks noise is a problem. Describe the survey's population and sampling methods. Students, do you think the survey could result in a biased sample? Again, explain. You're asked this about this situation here. Okay, for the guided practice of every tenant, the population consists of every tenant, divides population into groups by floor, and chooses a member from each floor. The sample would be technically a stratified sample. Students, what do you think about the way the landlord surveyed for that? And that would be lesson 11.4, part 1, part 2, and part 3 available here. Thank you.